All right, it started.
Quick question. Are those 10 folks in the room? Or you haven't admitted them yet? Are they in the room? All right, well, let's share our screen. And good morning and afternoon, everyone.
Yep, they're all jumping in.
We don't see your slides yet.
You guys see my screen?
Yes,
Yes,
but you have to
you
push
can hit
present.
present.
Oh, it's not on present yet.
Mm-mm.
Second.
It's in Canva right at the top right. As soon as you open it back
Mm-hmm.
up.
Yeah.
Just like technology to not do a thing. Is it not allowing you to? All right, it's okay. I'll do it. In a second. All right. Can we all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we'll just use this one. All right, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. I know we're all probably in different time zones, so I love to make sure I play time zone Olympics with everyone. I want to welcome you all to our webinar, our Smarter Help webinar, Bring EV Charging Technician Training to Your School. Before we get started, I just want to do a little bit of house cleaning. Our colleague, Marshawn, will be monitoring the chat, so feel free to type in questions as you see fit. If any of those escape him, then we'll also leave in time at the end for Q&A. So again, just make sure you write down your thoughts, questions, and just put them in the chat. We'll make sure to get to them. Also, there's contact information will be given at the end. So if you want to continue the conversation, or you have follow-up questions, or just have genuine interest in wanting to learn more, we definitely invite continued dialogue beyond this presentation. All right, so we will get started. All right, so I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Kiana Scott. I am the CEO of this small but mighty God-given company called SmarterHelp. We are a learning solutions and workforce development platform. I'd love to call us that. We provide clean energy education, training, curriculum development, and upskilling. We do that in four different ways. One, through our e-Academy, which is our workforce development training. That's where we got our start. We also do that in in our curriculum development, which is our well, again, it's just curriculum development. We develop training, curriculum programs for folks. You see a lot of people developing innovations and technology and clean energy and the renewable energy transition. And a lot of times they find out soon that they need a trained labor force to scale. And so we support them in that way. We also do CTE or K-12. probably say K to 14 activations. And then the last thing we do is support our workforce development partners through employer engagement and partnership development. A lot of folks who are helping people get jobs in the clean energy space, they too need support and just understanding the verbiage and the terminology that goes along with the skills and the technology that is present in this space. And so we support them and being able to better message the education and skill set that their stakeholders also have. I have been with the company. Well, we've been around. Or I've been with the company. We've been around since August of last year, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But last, before I pass it on to my esteemed colleague, Dr. J, I want to share something that I believe just really connects to this conversation. And so I love the fact that my background is in secondary and adult education. I'm a former educator. For 8 years, I taught history and English. Then I transitioned to be a school leader, and then I was a director of curriculum and instruction for 11 years. And so I have a 23-year history in secondary and adult education. And this right here is home for me. I am excited about the opportunity, and I also stand up for the responsibility of educating our young people towards opportunities that are available to them in this clean energy space. And so I'll pass it on to Dr. Jessica to introduce herself.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Dr. Jessica Hutchinson. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for the small but mighty company SmarterHelp. And very thrilled to be on the call with you all today to discuss our career technical education curriculum first ever rolling off the market. My background as well is in education, as well as school administration and nonprofit management. So I bring all of that wealth of wisdom and experience to our operations to start to build the clean energy workforce for tomorrow. And I'm very glad to be discussing this with you guys today.
All right, we have a third person who's a part of this trio. He's actually not able to be with us today, but he's our Chief Revenue Officer, Josh McDonald. He is honestly the one spearheading our efforts for our curriculum adoption and inclusion into CTE. And so many of you will, when you have your follow-up conversations, it will be with the amazing Josh. All right, so let's get into it. So who is SmarterHelp? I said a little bit already about who we are, but just to kind of ground us a little bit more, we are a spin-out company. We were formerly we're literally the former learning and development department of ChargerHelp. They are a tech company, and they got their start providing operations and maintenance software and also truck rolls, so hands-on support for charging infrastructure, sorry. We are a nationally recognized training provider. I love to say that our curriculum is has a stamp of approval. It was actually used to create the EVSE body of knowledge that is now here through SAE. We have tons of workforce and technical training expertise combined with us and our trainers that deploy our curriculum. We are in over 15 states. Our trainers are actually homegrown. They are some of the first EVSE technicians in the country. We've trained over 2,000 people, and with a combination of our expertise, knowledge, wisdom, skills, I love to say we have 20 years of that all combined. What we're going to talk through today is one, the opportunity. And so while we're going to talk specifically about EVSE, I just want us to know that there is a huge opportunity in the clean energy, renewable energy transition as a whole. There are a ton of jobs that will be hitting the airwaves, a bulk of them by 2030, and a gradual expansion into 2050. 40% of these jobs are what we call sub-degreed. Basically, they are non-degree. You do not need a college degree to get them. And the median wage range for a lot of these jobs is $22 to sometimes $50 an hour, and maybe even more depending on where you are. And so as we think about the CTE space, the career and technical education space, that means that those are students that have decided that they want to go into work, get a career, make a living wage, a sustainable wage, a growing wage. And so it is incumbent upon us to figure out and develop lasting ways to help support those goals. I want to talk about the EVSE technician role, specifically what that is, what this work entails, who is that person that can have that career. And we're going to talk about what students need to know and the industry credentials that come along with the knowledge that they will gain in this program. Then we're going to explore ways that you can adopt EVSE into your school site or into your school program. And then after that, much like anything else, where do students go from here? What are the things that they can do? What opportunities are available to them post career? I'm sorry, not post career, post education, post training. And then again, as I said earlier, although we are talking about EVSE, SmarterHelp as a whole has other curriculum that we are pushing for adoption and inclusion into our schools. And so, as you want to explore, hey, how can SmarterHelp be a part of that or support that? I want to talk about what that looks like to partner with us, or just to stay connected to us as we go and grow towards CTE adoption and into schools across the nation. And then, last but not least, well, we have Q&A now all the way into the end as you see fit. Okay, so the opportunity, as we talk about EVSE, we know our prior administration, one, had goals of having 28 million ports, not just charging station, but ports in the ground by 2030. And also had by that year, half of our cars are sold across the country should be EVSE. I'm sorry, should be EVs. And of course, in California, which is where I'm from, our governor said, hey, all the cars by 2035 need to be electric vehicle. And so while we have had some ebbs and some flows, we have had some different messaging from our government leaders around that. If you all follow the market, follow what industry leaders are doing, EVs are still getting sold at high rates. Charging stations are still getting deployed. Renewable energy is actually literally outpacing the adoption and consumption of traditional energy sources. And so we're still well on our way in this renewable energy transition. Yes, we've had some hiccups, but folks are seeing it is beneficial, it does cost less, and it is more effective. And so we talk about EV charging. One of the things, I'd say the biggest thing that is in the way of mass EV adoption, and is also needed to maintain a reliable charging infrastructure, is us. Human capital. We need the workforce to support this. And we hear a lot of employers saying the technology's here, the projects are getting funded. We need folks to deploy them. And so we think about jobs, education, training. The biggest workforce development organization in the nation is schools. It is us. It's education places, schools, colleges. And so in order for us to make sure that our folks are ready, our young people can be able to leverage, not just participate and receive, but be able to monetize and leverage all the opportunities that come in this space. It is really important that we pay attention to what's happening, where careers are being deployed, and adopt training and education so that we can help them be able to receive and participate in those careers. What the data is showing about where folks are in their interest or their pursuit of clean energy or green tech, clean tech careers, as we put them. I don't know all the letters. I know we got Gen Z, Alpha, Beta, Y, all those latter parts. But nonetheless, we are seeing data is showing that a growing interest and not just the careers, but folks want to know, like, hey, the job that I work at, do we have an imprint? What is our carbon footprint? Are we making any headway in our climate correction solutions? Are we cognizant and aware of the work that we're doing towards the environment, good or bad? And so young people, and young is subjective. I think I'm still young. I'm almost 50, but I think I'm still young. But anyway, we care. We all have to share this one earth. And so as folks are standing up programs and folks are leaders and government leaders and industry leaders, as folks are deploying initiatives and also technology in this space, we are concerned. We're asking questions, and we also want careers in this space. And so you're starting to see that as more reports come out. There's also a demand. I just mentioned that. Even our traditional employers, we see GM and Ford, who are mostly centered in the ICE space, your internal combustion engine space, they're moving towards deploying electric vehicles in mass, and they also are in need of a workforce. Lightcast just put out a great report on the growth in the industry in automation, battery energy storage, EVs, and EVSE, and they named those employers as needing thousands of workers to support their deployment of that EV and EVSE technology. And then just one number, by 2030, we'll add another 575,000 jobs. Right now, there's 3.56 million jobs in the clean energy space available to us. All right, so we're here. We're talking about though the EVSE technician role, and I know when, as an educator, I want to know outside of just the curriculum. I want to know, well, how do I message this career? How do I message this role? What is this? And so, what is the job of the EVSE technician? And I forgot. I'm not sure if I said EVSE. It stands for Electric Vehicle Supply Equipment. That means big name for a charging station. What that person does, they diagnose, maintain, restore charging stations. They are the ones that make sure our charging stations are up and running so that when folks drive up with the EV, it is available and ready to dispense a charge. What do they do to make sure that happens? They do preventative maintenance, they provide corrective maintenance, they make commission a station, they have to diagnose, troubleshoot, and all of those things are covered in our curriculum. Where do they work? They could work everywhere. There are folks that have fleets of cars and vehicles and trucks that have charging infrastructure. They would support charging stations there. There are municipalities. I know we're working with LA County right now. They have 1,900 public chargers and soon to have 5,000. They're looking to hire folks that we train to support those charging stations so they could work for municipalities. Utilities, believe it or not, have tons of charging stations. And so we've worked with Georgia Power, Duke, Con Edison, and those folks have charging stations. And so it's pretty much mostly public chargers, but folks get hired to provide some of our CBREs or our JLLs, which are folks that manage large commercial properties. They come with charging stations, and so they also are also available on the private side. But it's basically supporting charging stations, charging infrastructure, and it could be everywhere. What is the day in the life of a charging EVSE technician or charging station technician? As things that I mentioned just in role number one, so they can run diagnostics on chargers. A lot of times you see down chargers and folks need to fix that. But even the ones that are up and running, sometimes they need a firmware update, a software download. And that means a human has to come with their tablet, connect to the charging station, and run diagnostics, run software updates. And so they do things like that. Of course, again, if it's broken, a cord is cut, a screen might need to be replaced. It might be cracked. Motherboard might need to be swapped out. All of those things. So a charging EVSE technician is in charge of doing all that they can to make sure a charging station is up and running, and if it is down, to get it back up and running. Here's the part I like to talk about the most, the wage ranges. So the EVSE technician salary on average, I would offer that, I think it's a little more now, but it's $57,000. Typical range 48 to 68. But if you follow that light cash report, they just did a report. It was just those four roles, but the field service technician, which is also a name for this role, was a six figures. And we have well, not me anymore, but Charger Help has technicians that make that. I will even name some. Rivian has charging station technicians. They're not called that at EVSE O&M folks. Six-figure salaries. And they're well and growing. The great thing we'll talk about even later, as I'm just to go on, is the adjacent skill set, the adjacent knowledge, the transferable skills that this role offers. Since we sit in the space of electrification transportation or transportation electrification, I'll swap it out. The charging infrastructure, the electrical safety and codes, the electrical energy fundamentals, that knowledge base crosses and intersects with a lot of other roles that we also cover, like your battery energy storage or storage and grid, even solar somewhat. Your energy efficiency, so your buildings being retrofitted and making sure that they're connected to other green goals. I mean, so the knowledge base that young people or folks that go through our training, they get it runs adjacent to other trainings, other education, and other knowledge that they get in these other spaces. And so it is transferable in that way. The clean energy space right now, and it's growing, it's not even a lot of money, it's $245 billion industry right now. I mean, I love to say this because the trainings that folks are taking in this space, I'd say on the workforce development side, we've seen, 3 weeks for EVSE. That's if a person is going full throttle, 3 weeks, nonstop, 8 hours a day. That's 120 hours. If they get OSHA 30, it's 150. But all the way to your solar, I believe is 4 weeks, or HVAC of this 4 weeks, and then energy efficiency 8 weeks. And it goes on and on. The longest program I've seen is 10 weeks. But folks are in a space now where they can get stackable certifications. I like to say they can have more keys on their key rings. So as assets and technology is being deployed in the clean energy space, it makes their employment candidacy that much more stronger, higher. They, as candidates in this space, are more formidable. They have a wider depth and breadth of knowledge to stand on as they pursue careers and just an entry point into this clean energy space. Is this where you come in, Dr. J?
Yeah, so
Tag on to my
let's talk
topic.
about the career technical education curriculum, because I know that's why you guys are all here. So let's delve into that now and talk about specifically what SmarterHelp is bringing into your school, into your classroom. So SmarterHelp, when we were Charger Help, before we spun out, we worked with the Society of Automotive Engineers, national agency, mostly known for their work in combustible engine and creating test and skills and alignment with industry recognized credentialing in these fields. Well, they worked with us when we were at Charger Help to develop out what the knowledge base would need to be, now known as, referred to as the EVSE body of knowledge, utilizing our background experience and previous curricula to decide what those domains would be. It now sits in 7. We have now coined 8 for our CTE program. 8 domains, 8 domains that our curriculum is structured around. And so you'll see the 8 domains listed here. So our curriculum spans the gamut of what I like to say foundational knowledge about the industry, the profession, the careers that are adjacent, all the way into hands-on practice about what it means to be an actual field-ready EVSE technician. What you'll notice, though, is a lot of these areas also cover other career pathways: your automotive, your electrical, your engineering, and your network and IT. So what students will be learning in our curricula will also give them some line of sight, or like to say insight, into these other career opportunities. Next slide. Next slide, whenever you're ready.
Oh, that is. I'm sorry, I forgot that that's me.
That's you. All right, so what you can also expect. So the curriculum itself, we like to think of it as this laddered approach. Students will be learning and engaging in OSHA 10 readiness. Lockout, tagout is also covered so that they know how to safely de-energize high voltage assets. We will also be providing them with high voltage safety laddering up, and then their SAE EVSE technician certification, which is the industry recognized certification for this career pathway. So students who completely align themselves and fulfill the course will be ready for all these certified credentials post completion of the course. Next slide. So this is what I think the bulk of everybody wants to know. How do you implement a CTE program like this in your school? And as a previous school administrator, I don't like anybody telling me what to do. Just give me some ideas and I'll figure it out from here. So what we did was put together several opportunities that you guys can think through about how you would insert this type of curriculum in your school campus. So there's the first way that we're suggesting is a 4 to 6 week module embedded inside of an existing course. So let's just say, and we've seen this, you have a automotive program specifically focused around, in our industry, it'd be electric cars. And what you would do is insert this alongside or embed it inside of that course. So students would be able to get a 4 to 6 week engagement in this type of curricula alongside of your electric vehicle course that's already running at your school. Students will, if you choose this model, students will get awareness, some level of exposure to the foundations of what it means to be in the EVSE career pathway. The second model, which would be the full certification course, this would be, hey, we're going all in on this. We're going to dedicate a 1 full semester to implementing this course from A to Z, and our students would be lined up and ready to be EVSE technicians fully post this course. This, again, will support them with taking their OSHA 10 or OSHA 30 certifications, their high voltage certification, then they move on to their SAE certification beyond the course. This is saying, hey, this is a course standalone, and this is what we're offering for the semester. Now, we also talk about like a standalone pathway, and this is where you can kind of get creative. So if your school offers, I forget what they're called, but you have like, we're doing the nursing pathway, we're doing the automotive pathway, you would insert the course alongside into a pathway specific to your school's needs. And so this can be very layered in terms of your approach. It's standing alongside of what you have in your pathways at your school. What we're trying to say is you can actually utilize this course, all of the materials that coincide with it, which I'll talk about here in a second, to figure out what works best for your course. So it is by no means saying that you must do something in a particular way, but we're going to give you all the tools to be able to make this work for your school campus. Next slide. So the course itself. Again, we're going to start with students in understanding the full infrastructure. So why are we here? How did we get here? Greenhouse gases all the way down to understanding the grid, right? And then we'll get into some actual fundamentals, your electrical basics, your vocabulary, all the foundational pieces you need to know in this industry. And then we get into the fun part. We start talking about the practice, right? How do you do this work? When an EV charging station is not functioning, what does that mean? How do we solve for it? How do we troubleshoot? And then we move into a lot of hands-on practice. And what I'd love to say is that we give students the opportunity to fail forward. When things break down, it is not always a, aha, I know what this means. It is struggling to kind of troubleshoot to figure out what this means and how to solve for it. And that is what the curriculum is really structured to do. So what we'll provide you with is a turnkey, ready to go, full on curriculum. If you come from school and you're in a school setting now, we know we love everything that's turnkey. There's nothing more that you need to add to this, right? So no, it's okay, Kiana, chime in, come off mute. Yes, we want stuff that's ready to go. So we're going to give you 16 weeks. And we threw in a little bit extra, but don't tell them I told you that. But it's 16 weeks of structured modular curriculum, hands-on. You see this little picture here on the side? Your curriculum will also come with what we call an activity station. We don't believe at SmarterHelp that you can teach folks how to do this work without having them practice on real life assets. And so we've created one that is going to be applicable and ready to use for school settings. It will look something similar to that little picture on the left-hand side. So you'll have your curriculum, you'll have your activity stations in the classroom. And then we will also provide your instructor, your selected instructor, with hands-on instructor training. We'll teach them how to utilize the activity sets, how it coincides with the curriculum, and we'll certify them to be able to use this in your school setting or inside of the classroom. Next slide. So, how SmarterHelp got here. We were and remain to be, when we're working at ChargerHelp, the first company to start doing this kind of work. So we literally have structured and built our curriculum around what it means to be field ready by utilizing all of the data, all of the hands-on experience from actual technicians who are fixing charging stations. We took that knowledge, and that's actually how we developed our body of knowledge and now our curriculum and now our CTE curriculum for young folks. And we utilize that information to structure and prepare our curriculum. Our curriculum's hands-on. Again, we are not under the belief that this is something that you can just kind of preach to people about and like, yeah, go out and do that. No, we want you guys to touch it, feel it, mess up, do all those kinds of things in a structured environment in the classroom. We ensure that our curriculum is industry aligned, and so we stay on pace, on cue with how assets are transforming and developing, and we make regular iterations to the curriculum to ensure that it supports the future of the assets and how they're performing and behaving and what it means to solve for an EVSE asset in the field. And again, we're talking about turnkey implementation. So we're going to really try to provide everything you need as a school body, as a teacher, to successfully implement this in your classroom without trying to pull pieces from everywhere, because quite frankly, those pieces don't exist. This is a new and burgeoning market, and we want to make sure that we give you everything you need to be successful in your classroom right away. And then the last thing is we support employer connectedness. So if there are industry alignments and things like that that we're aware of, we'll be able to support that for your school setting. Next slide. All right, so we at SmarterHelp have successfully trained over 2,000 folks, 2,000 adults, to be EVSE technicians across the U.S. Again, our industry aligned credentialing came from our work with the SAE international body. And we, because of this work, have had tons of experience and success in working with folks all across the countries. More notably, we still have a very great relationship with Goodwill Industries that we train adults in their Goodwill Clean Tech Accelerator program. We work with Michigan Central, Prologis, Highland, and all the other names that I can kind of name drop, and both doing both certificated training in this area, as well as we've done some curriculum development for our partners. What we're saying is we're not speaking on anything we don't know. We actually know what we're talking about, and we feel it very important to come from that stance to really prepare young folks for what it means to be certified technicians. We're taking our real life applicable experience and really just applying it and adopting it to support our career technical education programs.
And I believe.
So we threw in some pictures here just about what it kind of looks like to be able to do this work in the field. And again, I talked a little bit about the importance of having real assets, real tools and equipment inside the classroom. Just imagine that this stuff that you see here, all that fun stuff, is actually coming to your classroom when you decide to bring this curriculum into your school setting in by way of the activity station. And so you have a tight knit, very kind of cute, I like to say we're designing something really cute that will be able to be mobile and utilized in your classroom, but essentially it has everything you need, every tool, every piece of equipment, including charging stations in a modular opportunity, what we call the activity station. And so you'll be able to have everything you need hands-on to support and go alongside of the curriculum. So at this time, I'd like to take some question and answers. And I realize, thank you to someone who told us they don't see the question and answer button on here, that something might be going on technology wise, that you can't ask a question. Oh, wait, I see some things popping up. And if
Yeah, I
not,
think
what I'm going to ask, oh, it looks like people are able to ask questions. So we'll take some question and answers at this time. And then if you have one, I would say go ahead and put that in the chat. Kiana and I will try to answer some of these while we have the opportunity on this call. And then I will also throw in the chat if you have any additional comments, questions, you'd like to schedule a follow-up call with us, you can email us directly at www.learnmore@smarterhelp.com. We'll put that in the chat for you. So our first question, Kiana, what is the
wait.
cost of part? Oh, I saw your
Yeah,
finger go up.
real quick, one thing before we answer the questions, one thing that we didn't mention that I think is very important, I kind of covered it briefly, is the industry certifications that accompany our curriculum. Our curriculum includes OSHA 10, OSHA 30, your NFPA 70E, which is your National Fire Protection Agency, or your high voltage training, your lockout tagout, which is your de-energizing. And then our curriculum it was used to build the SAE EVSE body of knowledge and thus the certification. And so folks take our curriculum, they're set up for success to pass the SAE EVSE O&M exam and thus become a certified EVSE O&M technician. When it comes to our young people who are not yet 18 and can't take those tests, we love to say it's the truth anyhow. Our curriculum still has all the safety curriculum information and training in it. And at the end, our curriculum in partnership with schools will be able to help students be geared up, directed to complete the exam so that they can get the certification because they already got the curriculum to support it. And so I just want to make that clear because when young people or folks period have those industry certs, they're across industries. And so it just supports, again, employment viability because now they can work in a variety of industries because they have all those certs with them. All right, so now we can go into the questions. I'm sorry, you were going first.
Yeah, so I have here, I've been answering if you were speaking, but I have
Okay.
one here that says, I have several follow-up questions. Where we are located in Newark, New Jersey, two-year community college with a robust workforce development. Okay, and then it looks like the question here, what qualifications does the instructor need to be certified with as an EV trainer? That's a great question. And is this apprenticeship approved? You want to take those, Kiana?
Sure. So I'll start with the latter. Apprenticeship approved. Full stop. We started to go, and I'm at, is it Baltimore? That we have like a pre-apprenticeship approval. I will tell you, I stopped. And I will tell you why. The technology in this space is very interesting right now. And so until we see a lot more stabilization in the industry, I'll give you an example. You have in Germany, I think even Australia, some places in the UK, they're down to like their 4 to 5 OEMs. So the way that I can compare that is we have our Exxon, our Mobil, our Arco, our Shell. Maybe there's another. But right now we have about 50, some of them are white label, so we know that they're duplicates, about 50 plus, maybe 55 different OEMs in the charging station infrastructure space. And so that is a lot of different technology. We have OCPP, which is our Open Charge Point Protocol. We have version 1, and then we're moving to adopt version 2. And so because we just pay attention to the data and how assets are being deployed and the variety within which they are coming, it is a little challenging, I think, to stabilize and standardize learnings in that space when I believe it will evolve. And so we are very data driven. We are connected to Charger Help, which has aggregated 20 million plus data sets around charging stations. And I like to revisit our curriculum and make sure that it is very reflective and very accurate of the field experience. So I think it's a little premature sometimes for us to talk about. But what I will say is because the trades, particularly when we talk about electrification, transportation, or transportation, electrification, I know I swapped those out. I would love to be a pipeline in supporting folks to getting into the pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship space into IBEW. And that's just a real thing. We need so many electricians right now. We need so many to support our move to the grid and to support our electrification goals. And so this, because of the preliminary electrical safety and codes, electrical energy fundamentals, and the fact that folks have to learn about EV and EVSE, there is a lot of electrification knowledge that goes into this. And so we'd love to exist as a pipeline into that until we stabilize a little bit more. That was a long answer. What qualifications does an EV instructor, I'm sorry, does an instructor need to be certified as an EVSE trainer? Great. We provide the training for that. If you're already a certified trainer, you're in school, you may already sit in an automotive or CTE space that's adjacent to what we teach here. But we also have a training for teachers, much like other courses do. And we certify you to be able to support. You learn the LMS, the course that's online, you learn the asset, you're able to provide their curriculum. We set you up. And so as long as you go through our training, you're ready to go.
I'm answering some of these directly in the
Okay, go
chat. I
ahead.
have the one about OSHA 10. The next one says, we are interested in follow-up meeting. Can you please share your contact information? Yes, it is learn, LEARN, more, MORE, at smarterhelp.com. And I'll make sure I add that, or Marshawn, if you can add that to the thread as well. But it is learn more. Oh, it's actually at the top of the slide. Look at there. Learn more at
She said
smarterhelp.com.
we already have it.
That's how you can reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you. The next one is we are also interested in knowing the pricing and revenue sharing. We can definitely talk about that. Please email us and we'd be happy to converse further about that. Logistics needed for the equipment. Wonderful question here. We will provide you with, once you are partnering with us on implementing this in your school setting, you'll work with actually our logistics team who will kind of help you in determining the appropriate space. And then before your modules, your activity stations arrive to your location, you'll be given a full-on specifications manual, which talks about setup needed on site. I can tell you just Kiana and I, as well as our logistics team, took the approach of realizing that schools are very limited in space and cannot, kind of make this high power, so it won't, I can tell you, it does not require any kind of specialized power. You don't need to get new, everybody thinks, electrical assets, you need to get new electrical boxes and all that good stuff. That's not how we built and designed these activity stations. And they're modular. We actually have built them with teachers in mind, so they can be wheeled out, closed up, rolled out of the way, put back in the way when your students are there. But all that is provided to you in a specification manual, and our team works hand in hand with you and your school site once you've decided to implement this curriculum.
I took us back to this slide just and when we follow up with all of you, you'll be able to see, the modularity and the asset as it will be deployed to your school site. But this is like a rendering of what it could and would look like. This is top left-hand corner. And so it is mobile, as you can see, it's on wheels. It has attached PPE to it. So, and it comes off, but goes back on. So students won't be able to pick it up and take it anywhere. As Dr. J mentioned, it does not need to be able to dispense a charge, but it does need to plug up so that a screen can come on. You see this little white door right here. That is a screen, very similar to a screen that you would see on a charging station. And so they'll be able to see error codes come up and respond to that. And the lab stations, if you will coincide, of course, with the activities that are in the LMS and that are inside the curriculum. But it does move like this, and we're saying it's 6 to 8 students per station. And so as folks are asking about cost, we just want you to know that those are the price drivers. How many students will be in the school, the subscriptions, of course, per seat for the curriculum. I'm sorry, not in the school, in the class. And then, of course, the teacher training. How many teachers will be sent for the training? And so, as you all are talking and asking about pricing, Josh McDonald will make sure to get back to you and to connect with you all. But I just want to at least share, one, what this looks like, and two, what the price drivers are, as we discuss adoption in your schools. Where are
Which
we going?
brings to the question, is instructor certification training virtual, and is travel required to a specific location? So it is actually not virtual. Again, we go back to our belief that you got to touch, feel, and smell these assets. So instructor training is in person, and it is actually going to be in Arizona. Again, once you kind of decide this is the right fit for you, we will align you with training dates and all the information related. But it will be all inclusive of the price, depending on how many certified instructors you'd like to send for your school site. And training and travel will be discussed at that time. But it does require in-person training for your selected instructors.
I will offer some of the training because some of it is concepts. Some of it is asynchronous. But when we talk about the hands-on, like tactile, learning that you will be facilitating and overseeing, we also want to make sure that we do the same for you. And so a majority of it is in person.
A few questions. Will you be sharing the slide deck and recording? And where would we find pricing structure? It takes a while to get this kind of money through a school approval process.
Don't
Absolutely.
we know
Being
it?
we know it all too well. And we've considered all that as we build, design, and share this with you all. And so we intend to get this information out to you guys soon so you can start having these conversations for the upcoming school year. Pricing structure is discussed when you reach back out to us and schedule some time with myself or Josh. And then the slide deck, happy to share, and the recording post this call. I'll just make sure it gets out to everybody who signed up for this webinar.
Can I
So
ask?
go
I,
ahead,
I,
Kim.
I would like to ask a question. When you all think about or when you consider adopting and including different curriculum into to your schools, what are the channels you have to go through? What's the approval process? What are the barriers, if there are any? Like, what's your process? If anybody going,
They have to type it. Also,
yeah.
I can what I can do is anybody who would like to answer that live, if you put up your hand, I can go to you.
Oh, I can't see your faces, so yes. Um,
All right, going to Mitra. I hope I'm saying your name
Why that name
correctly.
sounds familiar. Have we
Give
met
me
Mitra?
one second. I found you, I believe, and I'm going to allow you the opportunity to speak here shortly.
While Mitra's coming up. Okay, come on, Mitra.
Okay, so I was going to say, so I'm from Essex County College in Newark, New Jersey, and we're always looking for new opportunities for our students. So this seems like very interested in it. So how we work is that we apply for grants, and there are some pilot programs, some pilot grants that we can access through New Jersey Consortium of County Colleges, and we have done some new programs through them. I believe they're going to open it up again soon, around August or September, and we want to apply. The reason I asked if it was apprenticeship approved, because we have several state grants. We have like 3 of them that are apprenticeship approved, so that would give us access to those dollars. But since that's not in the picture, but always applying for grants, and this seems like an industry that's growing. So that's why I was saying I would really like to talk to you guys. I have 2 other partners that work with me on grants, and right now the college is going to be closed next week and will open up on July 7th. And so we'll reach out. I'll send an email and I'll include them so that we can have some follow-up conversations with you guys. But it's mostly grants. We can
Yes.
run it as a revenue bearing course. That's where we want to know the revenue share pricing. So we can do both ways. We can start with one, we can move over to the other, or we can run it simultaneously. But these will be like questions that probably will have a whole bunch of questions for you guys.
Thank you. That's very helpful. One thing I want to share, because I do know the way that our country does work, it is apprenticeship, but I will applaud DOL. They just approved like micro learning, shorter stints of funding, well, funding for shorter stints of programs that are not so standardized. And I think it is because the renewable energy space, one, you can't deny its growth. You can't deny like folks that have green skills, they get hired at depending on what you read, between a 44 to 66% higher rate than folks who do not have green skills. We're retiring people like crazy, especially in our trades. And as quick as they retire, we're not getting the replacement in the labor. And so I think folks are starting to give a lot more credence and just paying attention to the shorter stints of learning that are producing longevity. And when we talk about career acquisition and career growth, so that's there too. And RTI, related technical instruction, that is expanding in terms of approval as well. So thank you for sharing that. But I bet you in that apprenticeship stuff, I bet you there's an app for us in there somewhere. Anybody else?
I don't think we have any other
Okay.
hands or questions.
Well, I'm grateful that you all are here. I'll say this and I'll give Dr. J room for closing remarks. Depending on what you read, we read a lot, but Accenture put out a great study. Blue Green Alliance put out a great study. There's another one that's like middle, but there will be 7 to 9 million jobs here by 2030 in the clean energy space. 40% of them are non-degree careers. We did a business case on our CTE courses that are currently being offered across the nation. And the top 3 were still automotive by way of ICE, though, your internal combustion engine. Healthcare was number 1, but it makes sense because healthcare is our number 1 employer. Tech 2, but mostly IT. Not enough in the AI expansion space because we're getting there as well. There are a lot of programs and schools, CTE schools, especially in Indiana. If there's any Indiana folks here, you all are doing a lot of work with AI. But when it came to the clean energy space, it was still absent. And a lot of anything energy or clean, rather, still set in environmental education, not in the career side. What I will offer is California, the Department of Education here is just now starting building their CTE clean energy standards. And so I said to myself, that means they are paying attention to labor market data. They're paying attention to job market trends. Because they didn't put it on the NGSS side or the science side, they said we need to develop career and technical education standards in clean energy. And so I just want to offer careers are here and coming. And we schools have the responsibility, the burden. We should be doing all that we can to make sure that our young people, because I know we reconcile that against the cost of college. That is undoubtedly going up. My niece just graduated from UCLA and last week, and she said, we just found out that the out-of-state cost for students this fall will be $70,000 a year. That is not just something the average person can afford. But we can offer opportunities to pursue gainful employment with great career projections, great upside in terms of the monetary gains here, and it won't cost you debt. And so just looking forward to locking arms with you all, exploring conversations, standing up programs, connecting with our employers, presenting things to our local community college partners. What can we do? What can we do to lock arms around our young people to prepare them to leverage and monetize and create futures for themselves and their downline as it relates to an industry that is not only going to help them financially, but they're going to help all of us as we need to breathe the same air, connect to the same water sources, and all the things. So thank you all for joining us today. And I'll pass it on to Dr. J if she has any closing remarks.
Yeah, I don't know how I come behind that, but that is definitely the sentiment of our hearts that we speak at SmarterHelp. I will leave with our closing contact information. Again, I would love to have some follow-up conversations with you all, even if you have more questions. Again, it's learn more at smarterhelp.com. We can also be reached at our website, which is under design, but there's a wonderful contact page on there where you can enter some more information, and that is www.smarterhelp.com. But we would love to follow up with you and answer any continued questions you might have moving forward. And thank you all for your time. Do share this with others you think may be interested, and we will send the link to the video as well as some closing gifts. I always like to say we send you guys more information than you need. So anytime you reach out to us with more questions, we'll send you answers. All right. Thank you
Also,
guys.
just
Have
put
a
my
happy
email in the chat.
Monday.
Thank you.